Alright guys, so I got the drive shaft apart, and what you have to do is you have to pop this cover off the front here. It just slides off, there's nothing that holds it on. Okay, set it to the side. What I used was a hammer and a chisel. Very, very simple tools. And if you look right there, there's a snap ring. Go with the snap ring pliers, pop that bad boy out, and then take a chisel and just kind of work this bearing off. And then when you get this one off and get the other one on, you'll use the drive shaft, the other portion of it, to kind of push it back on with. If they're really stuck on there, you'll have to use a press. There's some information on the service manual. There's like a bearing puller. It just kind of clasps around that, and then you use a press and it just shoves the drive shaft out of it. But if I can do it this method, it's just a lot easier on the components. So this is what messed up. This goes in there and it just rides inside of that, and this kind of keeps it from flopping around. Well, with age, it starts to do that, and you hear like a thud noise when you're taking off. Or the way it started for me was when you go to accelerate at like highway speed or something like that, you got to kind of kick it. You hear an initial boom like that underneath the car, and then it'll go. And so this is what, I guess this was on its way out the door. This is the new one. I could not find anybody who had one in stock, parts wise. I didn't try GM, just for the sole fact they wouldn't have sold all the other stuff. I'd had to buy like separate pieces. I think they would have just sold this. They wouldn't have sold a new snap ring, a new O-ring that goes on the end of the drive shaft, and that new little shield that goes on this side. But anyways, this is what it's supposed to look like all together in one piece. I think I paid like $70 on eBay for this. It was the only place I could find it online. That was a legitimate store. So anyways, what I'm going to do is put a little grease around this and a little grease on the drive shaft after I get that other piece off, and hopefully it'll slide back on, and I'll take a picture after it's done so that way you guys can see it. It's a fairly simple job. The hardest part was getting the bolts out of the back of the transmission. I try not to take off any more than I had to. So I had a little swivel ratchet, and I just put back here, and I put a gun. Oh, sorry. Put the swivel back here because the nut starts on this side, and then the bolt's up here. And I just took my gun and fed it through the exhaust. And otherwise, if you didn't do that, or you didn't have the tools to do that, you would have to drop this transmission mount down and put something underneath the transmission to keep it up, so you could get behind it with a ratchet and whatnot. But I'm lazy, so I did it the other way. But anyways, it's an ongoing process, and hopefully we'll have it back together here in a few minutes. Alright guys, got it all back together. This is what it's supposed to look like. If you look down inside there, snap ring is back in place. Make sure it is in the holes, okay? Cannot stress that enough. There is a little ring cut out all the way around this drive shaft. Make sure it is snapped inside of that, because you don't want to have to take this back down again. It's not a terrible job, but it's not fun, especially if you don't have a lift. But anyways, what I did is I took my mallet that I had, and I just tapped all the way around this, and it slid on. And if you can see, both surfaces are mated there, so it's all the way on. And obviously you won't be able to put that snap ring in if the surfaces aren't mated all the way. So that's pretty much it. All I gotta do, there's a little O-ring that comes with the kit that I bought. We'll put the new one on there, and then there's a little shield right here. It slides on. I gotta put it on first and then put that O-ring on, and just marry the drive shafts back together. Also, something I didn't tell you earlier, it may be hard to see because I've got my headlight on because I'm halfway blind. Turn these off. All right, if you look right here, you can see a little mark I made, and then I made one right here, and then over here on the drive shaft I made a mark. You need to make sure that they go back exactly together. If you don't, it could cause a vibration issue, some alignment issues as far as how it spins. It's what GM recommends, so that's what I'm going to do. You know, there's a weight like right here on the drive shaft, so they put it together in a specific way, and they want you to put it back together in that exact same way, so there is a reason for it. But anyways, so I'm just going to put these drive shafts back together. To put them back together, after you line them up, what I was going to do is take a hammer and just kind of ping on the back side of this, you know, all these different little eyelets here. And what it should do is it should shove that drive shaft back up onto this, and you'll know whenever you hit it, when you've got it right, it'll go boom, it'll click into place. And so then that'll be perfect. That's where you need it at. As long as you can't easily pull back on it and slide it back off again, then you've got it all the way in. So, but anyways, good luck with your if you're having to do this job. It's really not too difficult. The hardest part is just, like I said, getting the bolts out of the drive shaft towards the transmission. That's the hardest part, and then obviously dropping the exhaust. So, but anyways, good luck, guys.